So, Brad,
Yeah, buddy.
you remember a couple of weeks ago, Mississippi State goes down to Baton Rouge, and all of a sudden they beat them, and they're the 15th ranked team in the country, and everybody's talking about how Mike Leach is going to change the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now that we've had a little time, it looks like when 7 players have left the Mississippi State football team, including the leading rusher of the SEC last year, Kylan Hill. And when asked about it, Mike Leach said, I'd be surprised if we don't lose a couple more. He said to brace yourself if you're already freaking out about departures. He's not shocked at all.
Did he lock them all in a closet?
You know, Early, sometimes them football boosters will provide your family with a car or even house if you keep nice and quiet about it. They're gonna do what now?
Welcome to the place where if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying is a way of life.
Just keep it down home, cuz.
Where degenerate gamblers can congregate in peace.
Money, yeah. Money, yeah.
Where screaming at 20-year-old kids on a TV is just another Saturday.
Every fiber in your bone, and you take it and you beat the piss out of them. I'm talking about beat the piss out of them. Let's go whip their ass. Let's go.
Where game days don't end until the Rainbow Warriors say so.
It hits the upright. Oh my God! It hits the left upright. It hits the left upright.
They are the bagmen that Danny Sheridan never found.
I went to him with a strong-ass offer.
And it all comes to you with a splash of bourbon on the side. Woo! This is the Friends of the Program podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome in to yet another episode of the Friends of the Program podcast. I'm Brad, he's Drew, as we get set to finish out the month of October already for college football season. It feels like we should be, 8-9 weeks in, getting our first college football playoff rankings going. Yeah, that's not the case. Big Ten just now playing week 2. Pac-12 hasn't even kicked off. It's a weird year. But final weekend of October, Halloween weekend, traditionally a weekend where we have cocktail parties going on down in Jacksonville. Instead, that's now a week later. And we got, all kinds of other stuff coming your way and a ton to recap from last week as well. You can always follow us on Twitter at FOT Podcast. Same for Instagram at FOT Podcast. Find us on YouTube by searching Friends of the Program, and Spotify and iTunes as well by searching Friends of the Program. Drew, how you doing, friend?
I am doing very well, sir. Just dodging raindrops here in Nashville, but
yeah, it was 38 degrees here yesterday. So
oh my gosh,
yeah, it's not okay.
That happens
in Austin. No, not okay.
What is that? No, we're just dealing with a hurricane while you guys deal with the frigid cold. I don't know if it's been that cold here.
Oh
yet.
God, it's done. So it's back to like 50 something today. Okay. It's supposed to be in the 60s the rest of the week, but the last 2 days were awful.
I was about to say that's more Michigan than it is.
Yeah, I lived up there long enough to where I'm over the cold, man.
Yeah, no, thank you.
What you drinking tonight?
Tonight, actually, I'm going to tip my hand to you, good sir, and drink some of Texas's favorite Balcones.
Yeah.
The original Texas whiskey. This is going to be some Baby Blue, a corn whiskey.
Yeah, so it's made with blue corn, is why they call it that. Yeah,
I believe they call it maize down there.
It is. It's pretty good. I have gone. So there's a local brewery by the house that a friend introduced me to. Mm-hmm. I'm going with a raspberry mead tonight.
Ooh.
In my other brewery glass. This is, if you're looking on the YouTube, anything about the state of Alabama politics from years ago, where a governor got in trouble for grabbing boobs, and then they made they made a glass out of it with peaches and made an unimpeachable ale. Yeah, I had that glass sent to me. So
my favorite distillation Dennis.
So anyway, if you don't know what a mead is, which I know you're not a beer guy, so you may not, it's actually like made from honey.
Oh.
And then fermented with water. And I actually, my wife does not like beer at all.
Yeah.
And I gave her a taste. I'm like, you might actually like this. And she goes, I could drink that. So
yeah, no, I definitely need to, because
it's dessert drinking.
Yeah, no, that sounds delish. My wife and I, Lindsay, actually went out to Diskin Cider here in Nashville a couple of weeks ago. I think it was last week. Actually got to watch the Arkansas Ole Miss game down there, and had a blast. I can do the ciders, the hops, though, just something with my body just doesn't do it. But so I'll definitely try that mead next time we get together.
Yeah, if you can find one, it's good stuff. Yeah. Okay, So let's start, I think, with the news of the day as we get recording this podcast here on Wednesday night, and that is that Wisconsin, after looking great in week 1 against Illinois with a second-string quarterback, I think is what Wisconsin did that with.
I believe that's right. It was a true freshman for sure.
And then by the time the weekend rolled around, they were on their 4th-string quarterback because everybody was injured or had COVID. Now it seems like most of the team has COVID, including the head coach. And the game against Nebraska this week, the team that had been begging to play football after getting waxed by Ohio State last week, that game is now canceled. It won't be made up because there was no room that Big Ten left in the schedule. And officially, it goes down as a no contest. So Wisconsin won't take a loss, neither will Nebraska. I feel like you're going to see more of this because, look, facts are facts. The amount of cases going up right now in the country, it's way more than what we had over the summer. You're starting to see that kind of spike that was expected as the weather got colder. And I feel like you're going to start seeing more of this. Florida's still having problems with COVID after missing a game a week or so ago. I don't know. What's your take? But Wisconsin not playing football here for the next few weeks. And with the Big Ten's rules, anybody that caught it, they got to sit for 3 weeks.
Yep. No, this is sort of the pit, the Indiana Jones pit of doom that we all kind of saw when we looked at the Big Ten's rules and everything like that. That you have to wait 3 weeks. That all the other things that the Big Ten put in front of their teams and their players and their coaches. This is sort of the pitfall of it. This won't be the first time this happens to Wisconsin, much less anybody else in the Big Ten. I think for the next 2 weeks, they're at least going to be down just because of the 3-week rule or the 21-day rule.
I think 2 of their quarterbacks at least caught it.
Yeah, and with the contact tracing and everything like that, you have to be on top of this and up front, especially in the Big Ten. In the SEC, I hate to say you can be a little bit more lax, or in the ACC, just because you have that wiggle room. But Florida's finding out. I think I saw where Dan Mullen said today, 53 is the number that we have to have. Okay, we'll have 53. Can't promise 54 or 55, but we will have 53 suit up and ready for Missouri.
I don't care if we have to pull somebody from the science lab. We're going to have 53.
Exactly. No, I mean, we're not going to just look out for a guy wearing number 55 as a running back called Nimit Myth. Just look out for Nimit Myth. Just look out for him. He might be good. He's a true freshman. So, I mean, literally, you're going to have these teams just to get people on the field. Yeah. Because, again, 53, you have to at least have 22 and then some, like about 30 is what you can do if everybody plays the entire game. But you have to at least have 53 on the field. So even if it's a student trainer that, always thought about suiting up for the Gators, he might have a shot just because we need a warm body and you fit a warm body.
Hey, most of those cheerleaders, like the guy cheerleaders on the sidelines, are pretty jacked, man.
That's true.
I knew a couple back in college. Uh-huh. They were big dudes. Yeah,
can we have hit somebody? Can we have some of the Mike men do punt returns?
No, it wasn't the Mike men. It was the Mike men's were all the skinny guy. The guys who were leading the cheers were always the skinny guys.
I know. That's why I want to pick him to do punt returns.
Staying in the Big Ten, let's talk football that actually happened last week as the Big Ten did come back. And the best game of the weekend. Penn State at Indiana.
Oh, my gosh.
Wild game. A game where Penn State, if the running back goes down, it's over. Penn State wins. Indiana lets them score. Running back doesn't pick up on what's happening. Bad coaching not to tell them what to do there. Indiana, to their credit, go back down the field, score, get a 2-point conversion to tie it, and then get the 2-point conversion in overtime, quote unquote, to win. I'm still not convinced that he actually got the ball to the pylon. I'm sorry, and this was a discussion I heard for several days. I want to get your thought on it.
Sure.
The replay to me looked like the ball hit the white before it hit the pylon.
So I'll take you back to even a second before.
And I got to preface this, and I'm sorry to cut you off.
Sure.
Folks, if you don't know this, Drew actually used to work in a replay booth for SEC football for a season or two. So
I was an SEC replay technician.
He wasn't the one making the call officially.
No.
But he was in the booth, like queuing up.
I know what goes into these.
He heard the discussions. He knows exactly what's going on. So this is, I think, a very intriguing perspective to hear from Drew here.
So the way that I looked at it, and I always try to look at these from a "you got to prove me wrong" kind of way. So the call on the field was that the try was good, that he reached the pylon. So I have to go from that vantage point of prove me wrong that he was down. Now, I thought if you want to pull up Twitter, I thought No Context College Football had a fantastic still image of the play where the quarterback for Indiana, his name escapes me at the moment. It looks as if, and again, I use those words because obviously that's what the replay booth used as well. It looks as if his calf and the side of his leg is on the turf before he ever even gets to the out of bounds with the ball.
Oh, that's interesting.
And that is a really intriguing play because even if it's 1, 2, 3 frames, seconds, whatever you want to call it, before that would lead me to believe that as gravity continues to pull him down, that's going to get closer and closer to the ground until it touches. So I agree with you. I don't think he made it, but it is so close, and so I can't really tell. I can't 100% say nope, knee down right there. That you have to let it stand just because it's the call on the field, and I don't have anything truly definitive. Now, that's still shot again that No Context College Football, which is a great, fantastic account. Love that account.
Yeah, follow that on Twitter.
Follow that on Twitter because they deserve your follow. Did a great job of making that still image. It's what I do every Sunday with my video library that I've got here. Go back and look. I know that we'll talk about it here in a little bit about Auburn's newest horseshoe play for the week, just to see if something moved or if the ball was closer than I thought it was, which it wasn't that in that case. But I'm okay with it standing. I don't think A, he got in with the ball, but B, I don't even think he got to that point because I believe he was down. I just by his calf being down.
For me, it looked like, and I didn't see the calf thing yet, so I'll have to go look at that myself. But the ball looks like it's on the white, on the ground before, just a shade before it touches the pylon.
Now, I will stop you right there. So the first thing that we do, that we always did, and if you go back, I was in the booth for the 2010 Arkansas Auburn game, where Mario Fanning comes in and literally he has the ball, crosses another player, an Arkansas player's calf, I think, and then he's in the end zone, but without the ball. You just can't see that frame in between the calf of when he had the ball and when now he doesn't. And we had to let the call stand, even though our brain told us, okay, 1, the ball's not there, but 2, where's the camera? Is it right down the line? Am I a foot behind the line? Am I a foot ahead of the line? Because if you have that, and notice the next time you watch football, if the camera's back or in another position instead of right down the goal line, they really won't overturn that call unless it's just blatantly obvious. I mean, and by blatantly obvious, I mean steel chair over the head, blatantly obvious. Unless it is clear and concise and, yep, there's the ball and he's losing it, it's coming out, and that's when you can overturn the call. So you're maybe 3 feet behind the line as he's diving for it. And that, I think, also caused the booth to say it stands as called because the referee's right there. I mean, he's on the line.
Well, either way, hell of a win for Indiana. First time, I think, in like 42 games or 42 tries, they had beaten a top 10 team in the AP. And now if you're Penn State, and we'll talk about this game more in depth later because it's ranked-wise arguably the biggest game of the week this week. But now they go home, and Penn State's in danger of going 0-2. And I would say more than in danger. They're likely to go 0-2 with Ohio State coming to town.
Yeah, no, this is worst case scenario for James Franklin because you've got to circle those wagons hard and fast. In what would be a huge game, huge whiteout game. I mean, he'd have Happy Valley frothing at the mouth ready for this one. He's doing all he can to. But in this COVID season, as I'm sure that history will call it as we continue on,
yeah,
while
we're talking about Happy Valley, COVID, don't screw up my world next year. I've been counting this trip for Auburn to go to Happy Valley next year for years, and I don't want you to screw this up for me.
Don't you do it.
We plan on being at that game.
I want Gettysburg and I want Happy Valley. That's it.
Well, hey, there's also a casino and a horse track in between there, so if we could stop, that would be great.
Of course we can bet.
I appreciate that. As we go around to other games last week that I want to get on, where the hell did Oklahoma State find the defense this year? 24-21 they beat Iowa State, but Iowa State scored a late touchdown in that game. It was really 24-14, but Oklahoma State's defense has been the story of the Big 12 for me.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And thank you, Matt Campbell, for ruining my weekend with that late touchdown. No, you're absolutely right. At first, we thought, "Oh God, what's Okie State doing with that stink burger of a game against Tulsa?" But when you take a step back and look at their point totals, 21 points, 14 points, really, except for the garbage touchdown against Iowa State. They've had defensive performances of 7 points, 13 points, 7 points, and 21 points now. And now they get a Texas team coming up this week, which, buddy, that'll be fun. And of course, the Baylor game was postponed. But still, I don't know where this Mike Gundy defense came from.
It's weird.
Well, I don't like it.
It's weird.
I don't like it.
They can't score points, but they can stop points. It's awkward.
You have Chuba Hubbard and you can't score points. What?
Yeah.
What?
But Oklahoma State's good, and they may be the best team in the Big 12, folks. Yeah. They're sixth ranked in the country, and no one's talking about it. But that might be the best team in the Big 12. And if you're looking for a sleeper to make a playoff, I want to pay attention to Stillwater right now.
I was about to say, I try to listen to, because I'm a Falcons guy. Don't laugh. I don't need your pity. So I listen to a lot of Atlanta radio just to keep up with the Falcons, and also they talk about Georgia a little bit and Georgia Tech. Auburn's not far, so I get a lot of my information from them, or I listen to at least one show. And Georgia fans are still, well, if we do this, if we tweak this, if we do that.
Yeah, no.
I have heard not a word about Oklahoma State, and there are 3 teams that will make the playoff.
The
fourth one's wide open, and I think it's orange and black.
It might be. They can go 9-1 and make it.
I think, and who says that they can't go over?
Well, here's the catch. Whoever they beat in the Big 12 championship, they got to play twice. And probably now if they beat Oklahoma in the regular season, they may not see Oklahoma in that championship game because that would be Oklahoma's 3rd Big 12 loss.
Yep.
The question then becomes: Is it Baylor? Is it? Yeah.
Right now, it would look like a Baylor. I would need to pull up the standings, but that's something to keep an eye out for.
Who's the second team?
Who would be your second team? Could it be an Iowa State? Could it be a Kansas State?
Yeah. It's weird. Big 12's all over the place right now.
Yeah, Big 12. You weird, Big 12. I like it, but you weird.
Sticking in the old Southwest Conference here for a second, even though Oklahoma State was not part of that conference, just go a little down the road to Dallas, where SMU in a ranked matchup, 9 versus 16 last week, they take it on the chin at home. To my boy Luke Fickell, the man who I am desperately wanting to be the next coach at Auburn someday. Cincinnati comes in and just thumps SMU 42-13.
I tell you what, I really, really put a lot on my ponies to try and get that dub.
You know, I was hard against them in this game.
You were, and you were absolutely right. It was very apparent early and often that the Ponies had nothing for the Bearcats of Cincinnati. I was hoping that the win over Memphis kind of got everything a little bit rolling for the Ponies, but man, they met a barbed wire fence in the Cincinnati Bearcats this past week.
Yeah, I thought Cincinnati was impressive. First half, kind of what you expected, pretty tight game, but they put the pedal to the metal the second half. The defense played well. It's not like SMU can't score points, folks. And Cincinnati just went in there and made that a laugher.
Yeah.
And speaking of teams going on the road and making it a laugher, what you looking at, Michigan? Where did you find an offense? Where did you find
Where did you find a defense?
Okay, that too.
Whoa.
But Michigan throwing the ball down the field is weird.
That was weird.
That was weird to see.
That was very weird to see.
And yeah, their defense stepped up in the second half. They gave up some yards and some points in the first half.
They gave up some yards and some points, but I believe I haven't seen a hit like that and a scoop and score on a quarterback quite like I saw in the first half against Minnesota.
Maybe since Jadeveon back in the bowl game when he did that against Michigan. 49-24. The boat sinking. Up in Minneapolis.
There's some holes in that boat.
Yeah, PJ is going to find himself at one of the bottom of the 10,000 lakes up there.
He gets to cleanse himself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka.
Go purify yourself there, PJ.
Purify yourself.
49-24 your final. Michigan, though, now they get to go home. They're going to play Michigan State, who lost to Rutgers. And Greg Schiano's back at Rutgers.
Doing that work.
But 7 turnovers for Michigan State the other day in that football game.
It wasn't a good look.
It was an ugly, ugly football game.
Mel Tucker got to cinch that up.
So, as you know, I used to live in the East Lansing area. And I married a woman who's a Michigan State fan. I got some friends who are Michigan State folks. One of my Michigan State buddies, he'd been so happy about Big Ten football coming back, text me 10 minutes into the game, goes, I may not have been so sure that Big Ten football should have come back yet. Michigan State was looking so rough.
I actually thought of our good friend and friend of the program, Chris Solari, during that, and I wondered maybe this is why he had the breaking news on the Big Ten. Michigan State was like, no, we ain't playing. No,
we're good.
We're good. We're good here.
That line can't get high enough this week.
No, we cannot.
2 others from last week I do want to hit on before we move on here. An upset in the old stomping grounds of Drew McCracken, where Wake Forest comes up with a big victory over Virginia Tech, 23-16. This is a game I kind of liked. I liked West Virginia. I liked Wake Forest in this football game. And I'll tell you what, that's 2 weeks in a row now. Wake has gone as an underdog at home and won a football game.
The claw fence showing a little bit of defense as a 10.5-point dog at the line, or at the start line, if you will. I don't know where Wake's finding this offense. They lost Jamie Newman. They lost their top wide receiver from last year, sitting out and just going to the draft. So Hartman goes 12 for 17 for $110. And meanwhile, their top running back goes for $130 in Beal Smith. I don't know where they're finding that defense, though. Wake has never really had since Jim Grobe, has not had a true defense. And, man, to hold that Virginia Tech road grader offensive line that you love so much.
I do.
Just to 16 points. I mean, I really didn't dive into the statistics of it, but I mean, don't get me wrong, they gave up some yardage, but they also gained 236 on the ground. Did the Deacons?
Man. All right, 2 others real quick because I had said 2 earlier, but there's one other I just realized I want to talk about. One, a game that you and I were both loud wrong on last week. We both loved Florida State plus 5.5 on the road at Louisville.
We did. Yeah, we did.
Louisville wins that game by 32. And I had some stuff come up. I couldn't watch too much football last week.
I actually got to watch a little bit of this.
I was hoping you saw some of that.
No, I did, because I again had thought very highly of this game, if that tells you anything. And I thought that FSU was actually going to be good and win the game, which, again, if you know me, wow. No, this was an absolute dominant performance from Louisville, where they finally put it all together, both on the defensive side of the ball and the offensive side of the ball. I don't remember when I was watching, at least, because Auburn was playing at the same time, so I had to.
We haven't even talked about that game. I didn't even want to talk about that game
I was
yet.
about to say, yeah. But only one turnover for Florida State the entire game. It was a fumble that they recovered. So there were no turnover problems. They were able to gain a couple of yards, right about 406 yards, but gave up 569 to the Cards. No, that's not the way you win football games, especially on the road, whether there's nobody in the stands or everyone's here. So I'm not sure what to make of this game. I don't know if this is a blip on Florida State's maturation process chart, but it's definitely a move in the right direction for Scott Satterfield and the Cards.
Yeah, that was the score when I saw it. Just kind of had me puzzled when I saw it.
It was not even a game.
All right, the final game I want to hit on from last week. It's not Auburn, because I think we'll talk about them in a minute. They are in our pick'em this week, so we'll talk about that game as part of the pick'em next week.
Sure.
My upset special from last week coming through in Columbia, Missouri, where the Tigers take down Kentucky in the most awesome box score ever for team box score.
Yeah, it is. No, there is just nothing. Even Shakespeare had 37 plays.
Let me just read this off.
Sure.
Kentucky with 145 total yards on offense. And folks, remember, they only lost by 10. Okay? They got outgained 421 to 145. All right? Time of possession was 43 minutes, 10 seconds for Missouri, 16 minutes, 50 seconds for Kentucky. Total plays, Kentucky runs 37, whereas Missouri, I think, ran over 90, if I'm not mistaken, right, Drew? So, yes, that all happened. Meanwhile, Missouri still only wins by 10.
Mm-hmm.
They were the underdog, so happy to take that one.
Sure.
But good night, what a ugly football game.
No, I actually went back and watched this one just because I was like, "There's no way." Obviously, I can remember in the SEC, the history of the SEC, Vince Dooley coming on, and before the Auburn-Georgia game in 1892, they played Mercer to get a warm-up game, and they beat them 55-0 or something like that. And one of the players on the 1892 Georgia team said, "No, it was actually worse than that. The scorekeeper just went across the street to get some booze and missed 2 touchdowns. So we actually beat them like 65-0. I was sure that somebody, that is a true story, by the way. I was sure that the scoreboard keeper in Como went down to Shiloh.
I missed that bar.
Oh, gosh.
That's such a
if
good
you're
bar.
ever in Como, shout out to Shiloh Bar. I actually talked to somebody about that the other day.
Side note. So we went to Columbia a few years ago for the Auburn game there. And one of our goals is to see an Auburn game in every SEC stadium. And we randomly found Shiloh. Drew's dad was with us.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, I've never been to a bar when I walk in and there's a bottle of decent scotch sitting on the back wall. And I said, well, okay, how much is a shot? And the guy goes, well, nobody ever buys it. I think it's like $4 a shot. I went, wait, excuse me? And we're not talking cheap scotch. It was something if you go to the store, you're going to pay $60, $70 a bottle for. It was decent.
It was a 12-year, I think.
Yeah, it was. I don't remember ever going to a place before a game, telling them just to sit the bottle in front of us, which we absolutely did. And they literally just set the bottle in front of us at that point. Mm-hmm. Ordered chicken wings, and the whole bill was $50.
Yep.
It was awesome.
I was very much tipsy, to say the least.
Yeah, I'm ready to go back.
That is one I can't wait until Auburn plays back there again. I don't even care if we're good or not. If Gus is still there,
I'm gonna go.
I'm
good.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on real quick.
I do have one more note, and it's please. One that caused your jaw to drop. I don't know if you heard, but Alabama beat Tennessee. I know, shocking. Shocking turn of events. 48-17, which is math major, more than 21 points, I believe. Okay. So with that loss, that makes 12 losses of 21 points or more under Jeremy Pruitt during his time at Tennessee.
Oh, I remember you texted me this. Oh.
That 12 now equals, and if you're on YouTube, look into my eyes, that 12 losses of 21 points or more under Jeremy Pruitt now equals Coach Dooley, Derek Dooley, and Butch Jones losses of 21 points or more while they were at Tennessee combined.
That's so bad. Hey, guess what? Jeremy Pruitt's 1-0 against Auburn.
Yep. And to bring back down the Tennessee fans, he also just got an extension this past year.
Oh, that's rough.
Don't get me wrong, recruiting is better.
Yeah.
He just got an extension.
So here's what I haven't done, because for those who may not understand or know, Alabama-Tennessee, to certain segments of the Alabama fan base, is a bigger rivalry than the Auburn-Alabama game.
That's true.
I was at the game when Peyton Manning had his come-out party in 1994.
Oh, gosh, that was fun to watch.
Yeah, I was in Legion Field for that football game.
That was so much fun to watch.
So it's a heated, hated rivalry. Mm-hmm. Goes back long times when the two teams were basically a dominant force in the SEC, and winner won the conference. Alabama has not lost to Tennessee since Nick Saban showed up on campus.
Correct. Actually, a year before that even happened.
Okay. I haven't done the math, and I need to go look this up, and maybe we'll look it up and then have Drew put it in a little window on our screen here if you're watching on YouTube.
Sure.
I want to know the final combined scores of all those games.
Oh, God.
Because there's only been one or two close ones.
The Mount Cody game.
There was the Mount Cody game, and I think there was one other that was a touchdown.
Like 24-21 or something like that.
Yeah. Everything else has been an ass kicking.
Yeah, it might be the Mike Shula game in 2006. That might be the other close one, because they, except for the Mount Cody game, they haven't been close under Saban.
Lane Kiffin's been the closest one to beat Saban.
Yeah.
At Tennessee, and he was there for 1 year.
A whole 1 year.
Oof, that's bad. All right, let's move on as we preview the final week of October, Halloween Saturday. For football this weekend, folks, we're going to warn you now. It's an awful slate of football. So if you're going to take the little ones trick-or-treating, you got some party plans, whatever the case may be,
you're good to go.
It's not a bad week to do it.
It's
really, really not good.
Whoa.
There is an interesting Thursday night game that I want to talk about real quick.
Yeah.
And some Mountain West action. But Colorado State's going to take on Fresno State out in Fresno. Colorado State 1.5 favorite. First game of the year for the Rams.
Because you do need something to distract you from the Panthers-Falcons game on Thursday night.
Oh, God, is that the Thursday night game?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's okay. Sunday night is Giants-Eagles. Giants-Eagles is Sunday night.
No. Cowboys-Eagles.
Oh, that's even worse.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Yeah, just get your Visine and drops and just pour them just straight into the eyeballs.
Awful football all weekend.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Anyway, I do like the Colorado State Fresno State game for just watching purposes. Mm-hmm. Friday night, there's not a whole lot. There is a Big Ten game, but Minnesota Maryland, I don't think is going to be too interesting at all. Actually, the most interesting game on Friday night is kicking off at 9:45 East Coast time. Hawaii's taking on Wyoming. Rainbow Warriors. At Wyoming. I like it.
I'm happy to see that the Rainbow Warriors are back. I also like this game as a pick'em. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm not putting money on because I don't know enough about either team.
But anytime a game is live in Laramie, you damn right I'm watching.
Okay, sidebar. One of the most fun nights I've ever had at a college football game was a game that I saw one quarter of. It was at Texas State down in San Marcos. They were playing Wyoming. And for whatever reason, because it's Texas State, we got tickets for $10 to go down there and sit on the 20-yard line, 15, 20 rows off the field.
Yep.
Well, lightning delay hits. And so we end up my buddy and I walk into a bar, wait out the lightning delay.
Okay.
Next thing you know, Wyoming fans just start buying us tequila shots.
Okay.
Just partying with Wyoming folks. I don't know a damn thing about these people. I'm not wearing any paraphernalia for Texas State. I don't give a damn. I'm just there to watch a game. never made it back to the stadium because by the time they kicked back off, it was midnight. We weren't going to wait that long for a game that we paid $10 for. That's a good time, man. Wyoming people,
good time.
Wyoming folks, if you're out there watching, I love you. It's good stuff.
No, go Cowboys. Cowboys.
All right, let's start previewing games this week.
Yeah.
This is a non-pick'em game, but it's got some intrigue, especially for us Auburn folks, as Joey Gatewood gets his first start at Kentucky, taking on the number 5 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Kentucky at home, Georgia a 14.5-point favorite.
It's not enough. It's not. It won't be enough. I don't think. I could see Kentucky getting to 10 points, 10, 13 points. This is just not a good Kentucky offense. The defense is salty.
Yep.
But not as salty as Georgia's, and they're going to put up 10 to 14 points by themselves.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Georgia wins. I think it's a rough way to introduce Joey Gatewood to SEC football as a full-time starter. Yeah. I love the over here, though. It's only 42.5.
Oh, yeah. No, I like that over.
I like the over a lot here because Georgia might hit it on their own.
Yeah. I could see Georgia getting to 35, 38.
And Gatewood's got enough natural talent where he can sneak off a touchdown.
Yeah, he's going to get 10 to 13 for sure. So, I agree with you. I would take the over if I had to do anything with that game.
By the way, folks, in the standings, we both went 1-5 last week. Rough week for both of us. Back close to 500 for the season. Drew 17-16-1 against the spread. I am 18-15-1. We are both 2 for 2. Our two wins up on upset special correct picks so far this year. By the way, we don't define upsets as like 2-point, 3-point spreads. It's got to be something somewhat significant for us to really count it for an upset. All right, first pick'em game of the week, Drew. It is a rematch of last year's American Athletic Conference championship game. The site is flipped. Memphis on the road at number 7 Cincinnati. The Bearcats a 7-point favorite.
You have baptized me into the Luke Fickle Church of American.
The Gospel of Fickle.
The Gospel of Fickle. That line will not hold water. Memphis, I know they only have a loss on the record to my SMU Ponies. This isn't going to go well for Memphis. This is at least a 21-point victory for Luke Fickle and the boys.
This is what I like right now. This Cincinnati game, if you want to get in, according to StubHub, it's $130 just to get in the door right now for limited seats.
Get on it.
Yeah. So Cincinnati getting some support there and some love. I love Luke Fickle. I love this football team. I think Cincinnati is the other dark horse along with Oklahoma State to potentially crash the playoff party. Mm-hmm. I think Cincinnati wins this by 14 or more going away.
I think so too.
We already talked about Michigan State. Michigan, expect that to be just a complete bloodbath. Here's an interesting one. It's not in our pick'em, but I like this game. Number 16, Kansas State going on the road. Just the one loss this year in the opener against Arkansas State.
Yep.
Undefeated in conference play. They go to West Virginia, but the Mountaineers are a 3.5-point favorite.
That is a really interesting pick because right now, just after a quick look, just with what we were talking about with the Big 12 a little bit earlier, Kansas State is undefeated in the conference. Just like you just said, only lost to Arkansas State. West Virginia has not wowed me.
No, not at all.
I
keep waiting for Neil Brown to do something there, and I haven't seen it.
I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago where I said we're not to the point of it's time, Neil. But just like you said, I've been expecting Neil Brown to pull something out because now's about the time when it should happen, and I just don't see it yet. I would definitely take Kansas State in this game. I am not sure about the over at 46, but I would probably go the over.
This is a money line game to me.
Yeah.
This is a money line opportunity. If you're going to get 3.5, that money line is going to be around 140, 150.
Mm-hmm.
Take Kansas State and understand that you have the better football team. Now, you might lose it, but understand that you've got the better football team.
You've got the better odds, in my opinion, as well.
Another one that I think just screams lay the points here. Coastal Carolina, 20th ranked in the country, 5-0, goes to Georgia State. Georgia State's played some pretty decent football this year. Their 2 losses are to Troy on a last-second field goal, and I think the other one was to Louisiana on a last-second field goal. So their two losses are right on the line.
52-yard field goal.
Yeah, are both on the buzzer.
Yeah.
But Coastal's playing at another level right now in the Sun Belt.
Not only that, they're also playing at another level with their locker room celebration.
Oh, my gosh. They went full WWE, dropping stunners, putting people through tables.
My God.
It was amazing. If you haven't found this, folks, go find Coastal Carolina's Twitter and look up their
put a man through. That man's got a family.
They put
him through a table.
They put a fake mascot eagle from Georgia Southern through a table in the locker room. It was great.
My God.
Ring introductions and everything. It was amazing. Anyway, Beach Chicken, a 3-point favorite at Georgia State. I like Coastal here a lot. Only give it a 3.
I don't just like Coastal. I love Beach Chicken here. Beach damn chicken on some wins here. I don't care if they are playing at Turner Field, which or whatever they call it now, Olympic Stadium. I don't even know. But it's a tougher place to play than one would think, just because of the layout and how it's arranged. Yeah. But no, Beach Chicken all day here.
Next game in our pick'em sequence, a couple of unranked teams, but a pivotal game in the American. UCF 2-2 in the conference. Houston 2-0 in their conference. Their only loss at home to BYU in a non-conference tilt. UCF's a 2.5-point favorite on the road. Here's my favorite number of the week. The over-under is 83.
I looked down at it right when you said that and went, is it wrong of me to go, that's not enough? But it's probably about right. This was going to be my upset special. I've actually been watching this one all week to see if it would take to like 3.5, make me feel better about it. I'm going to go with Houston just because I think the wheels are about to fall off of UCF finally. Yep. The magical run, I think, is nearing its end. The dynasty, if you will, in Orlando is just about over. So I'm going to take the Cougs and Dana. I'll take the Holgo to run to Tunica and get that dub for all of our past listeners that get that joke. So yeah, I think Josh Heupel it's starting to.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Houston wins that game. I like the plus 130 or so you're getting on the money line right now. Yeah. In fact, they are part of a small little parlay I have with some underdogs. So I like Houston a lot. I think they win this game straight up at home. I don't need the 2.5. No. And I'm with you. I think UCF is – the wheels are probably, they're starting to come off.
Just kind of wobble, just a little bit.
I just don't like what I'm seeing out of that program the last few years. Mm-hmm. We'll keep moving on as we look ahead, folks. Like we said, there's not a lot of fantastic games.
While you're looking, I will. I'll go on ahead and throw out my upset special.
Sure, please do.
My upset special this week is an undefeated battle in the Big Ten.
Okay.
Two teams that got victories. We've mentioned them both here already today, except this time, the home team will win, and that will be the Rutgers Scarlet Knights taking down Indiana as a 10.5-point home dog. Rutgers and Greg Schiano get that dub.
I don't like that pick at all. I'll be honest.
I know you don't, because Indiana's a good football team.
But to be fair, you're not going to like mine either when it comes up.
Exactly.
Because I don't think I think yours may even have a better shot than mine does of actually happening.
Then in that case, I like it.
Okay, let's keep moving on. And when I say that's a bad week, folks, it's a bad week for name brand matchups. It's actually a good week for intriguing football. There's a lot of 2- and 3-point lines out there this week. Mm-hmm. A ton of TCU Baylor. We're not even going to talk about that. That's a rivalry game. It's a 2.5-point line, right? Northwestern Iowa, 2.5-point line. So you're going to see some close football. It's just nothing that's going to impact the national conversation.
No, nothing's
over the course of the week.
I need appointment viewing games are at a minimum this week.
Here's an afternoon game, and we talked about this defense already. Oklahoma State, they host Texas. Oklahoma State undefeated on the year, but they're just a 3.5-point favorite over the Longhorns at home.
That line really intrigues me because don't get me wrong, Texas's the Texas offense. There we go. That sounds better.
Mm-hmm.
The Texas offense is very good. Ask Oklahoma. They went up and down the field in that unbelievable game that I would kill to watch again this week. And Oklahoma State's offense, like we said before, has been kind of just sort of there collecting a paycheck in the most awkward way possible for Mike Gundy and that beautiful mullet. But at the same time, I don't want to trust Sam Darnold and Texas. Like I have no reason to. So I'll take Oklahoma State. They're the better team.
No, I think they are.
I think they are.
I think they are.
And plus, they're playing at home. I just don't understand the line being like that. It's going to be a close game because why not?
I think the line is there because you just saw Oklahoma State only win by 3 last week.
Sure.
They're not a high-powered offense as they usually are. Texas can score some points. Mm-hmm. I think that's why you're seeing the line there. But I'm with you. I think Oklahoma State wins this. I think they cover. They probably win by a touchdown or something. I just don't trust Texas in this spot at all. We will talk about the afternoon game that I know you and I will both be glued to because it is Auburn. This game started with Auburn being a 3-point favorite. It has gone 6 points the other way. LSU now a 3-point favorite on the road at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Tigers for LSU come in after a resounding victory over South Carolina that I don't think either one of us saw that big of a butt movement coming.
No.
Auburn comes in, getting another break from the officials. They cashed in on it. Give them credit for that. They got the break. They went down the field, scored a touchdown, cashed in as they go on the road to beat Joey Freshwater and the Ole Miss Rebels by a score. This is a game over the last few years that has come down to one score. In fact, the last 3 years, it's been a one-score game. But LSU has taken each of the last, I'd say not even 3, go back 4 years.
4 years.
4 years, yeah. 2015 was the last time. 2015 was the last time it was not a 3 or a one-score game. 2016 was the LSU game or the Les Miles game where he got fired. 2017 was the Auburn blown 20-point lead. 2018 was the field goal at the buzzer for LSU. And then last year, LSU wins by 3 in their closest game all season on the way to a national championship. So it's been a tight game the last few years, but LSU has won 3 in a row. Where do you land on this one?
Until proven other. First and foremost, let me go back to last week. I don't feel as bad about Auburn winning the Ole Miss game as I did the Arkansas game.
Yeah.
And my reasoning behind that is because that happened, that touchdown, the kickoff touchdown that never was, happened with 5 minutes left to go in the game.
Yep.
Auburn scored. Auburn got the ball and went 3 and out, and Ole Miss got the ball back. If you really want that touchdown, drive and get it. You're Lane Kiffin. Drive and get that touchdown. I get running out the clock, but you didn't. So you gave it back to Auburn, and then they scored, and then you got it back with a minute to go. And your quarterback went over the line of scrimmage twice in that drive.
Yep.
And ran out the clock for you.
Yeah, the Arkansas game literally was like the end of the game. 7 seconds
Arkansas.
ago. Yeah, that was awful.
But this one I don't feel that bad about. So going to this week, LSU's offense was never the issue. Whether it was Miles Brennan or the freshman who looked amazing this past week. I thought Steve Ensminger did a great job of mixing up short passes, getting a lot of confidence, letting him find a rhythm, and getting the running game going. So again, the offense has never been the issue for LSU, even in their losses to Missouri and to Mississippi State. It was the defense. So the problems for Auburn so far have been defensive inconsistency, sort of, although they've been playing well, just not as well as last year, which stands to reason because Derek Brown and Marlon Davidson and a couple of other guys, KJ Brady,
Noah
Benogany, Chandler Wooten's opted out. So you've got a lot of guys, a lot of experience.
There's three picks in the first 2 rounds off that defense.
Yeah, exactly. So it stands to reason, of course, they're not going to be as good. So I'm interested to see if they can stop LSU a little bit. Because if they can stop them a little bit, this is a game. Because Auburn's offense just has to figure out Bo Pelini, which hasn't been tough for everybody. But this is Gus and Chad Morris we're talking about. It's going to come down to a game of Auburn. Can Auburn score enough to keep up with LSU? And normally that means they're going to lose because this offense is 35-ish to 40-ish on a good day, and LSU just put up 52. Again, against a South Carolina team that Auburn just got beat by. However, I don't know what that means, but I see Auburn getting up to about 35 and then going, that's all we got.
So you're going LSU -3?
I'm going Fighting Tigers.
I, for whatever reason...
Oh, don't do it. Don't believe in hope.
I don't. I don't believe in hope. LSU is the better football team.
Yep.
And I believe Gus Malzahn has a horseshoe up his ass that's going to keep his job longer.
No.
And this is the kind of BS game that he pulls out. No. It is. And you've been watching him for 8 years, and you know better.
It is.
This is exactly the kind of game he pulls out of nowhere when his back is against the wall.
I think that's the Texas A&M game later down the road.
It's always in the middle of the season. It's never at the end of the season when his back's against the wall like this.
Damn it.
So, I also think, from a football perspective, Auburn did find a run game last week.
They did. They have found the freshman of the year in the SEC.
Well, yeah. Tank Williams, if you didn't see this stat over the last Tank Bigsby, I'm sorry. Yeah. Not Tank Williams. Tank Bigsby over the last couple of weeks, he is, on every 25 carries, breaking 8.4 tackles.
Yeah.
That's double the next closest guy in the SEC. It's unbelievable what this kid can do. He's just a freshman. But what I found last week was interesting on the rewatch was Sean Shivers came in and actually added a nice little relief punch for Bigsby that was missing in the South Carolina game. That maybe caused Auburn to go away from the run a few different times because there wasn't that extra running back, because I don't think they trust DJ Williams enough to run it consistently. I think Auburn's going to try to grind this game to a halt. They may try to slow the pace down, limit possessions, and run the ball. Run the ball. Limit the throwing. I liked some of the passing combinations I saw last week with three receivers bunched, sending two of them out, drop one in for a quick little stick route for 4 or 5 yards and a quick first down. That's a new wrinkle that we really haven't seen out of Auburn this year. The weapons are just now starting to come back and get healthy on the offensive side. Can they slow down LSU enough is the question.
Yeah.
That to me is really the question.
Yeah.
Because the defense looked bad last week against Ole Miss in many spots.
Which you knew Lane would do.
Yeah.
I don't think that comes with any shock at all with Auburn's youth on the defense.
And here's the deal. I think Lane has a better chance of picking out the deficiencies of Auburn's defense than Ensminger does.
Yeah. I think, well, I'll say this. Lane can point it out and exploit it.
Yeah.
I don't think that Ensminger will exploit. I think he will know where they are and do all he can to do it, but I don't think he will exploit it like Lane could.
Yeah. This is only one of two things to me, or one of three things. This is either a very close Auburn win, a very close LSU win, or an LSU blowout. Yep. This has no chance of being an Auburn blowout.
No.
It's one of three.
And I've gone over my math equations with you before in that. And if a team has 2 and another team has 1, I take the one with 2.
Fair enough. So we'll split on that game. Final pick'em official game of the week. We'll do that last because it is the biggest game, quote unquote, of the week. One game in the SEC I want to hit on before we get to that pick'em game. At College Station, Arkansas goes to Texas A&M. This game traditionally played up at Jerry World the last several years, but with the pandemic, they have moved it to on campus. A&M a 12.5-point favorite.
I like this game being an on-campus game. I get. I can remember
they're trying to move it back to campus after a few more years. Yeah. The contract is up at Jerry World. They're wanting to move this back to campuses.
I get the reasoning why it makes sense. Jerry Jones wants Arkansas to play there. He also wants to make good with the Texas A&M folks to see it's not that far to come up here and watch the Cowboys play. And also I can remember working with some of the Arkansas radio guys before, and they said, "Oh God, we don't want to go back to Texas A&M. College Station's just a trash town." So I get that there's some old Southwest Conference, friction there. I'm fine with that. Auburn has to go to Tuscaloosa every other year, so that's fine. This might be my most intriguing non-Auburn game. Just because I want to see is Jimbo legit? Like, is this?
Can he follow up a big win?
Can he follow it up? He got the win over Mississippi State. Whatever.
That looks worse week by the week.
Exactly. And that might be another Gus win. I pray. Maybe. But I really want to see if the pit boss can get the job done. They've looked nothing but better every week in, week out. Somehow Felipe Franks has turned me. I don't know. I actually think he's a decent quarterback now.
Is he the better quarterback in this game over Kellen Mond? I mean, Drew, this is my upset special of the week.
Yes! Yes, sir!
Give me the Hogs. Give me the lady with the pig nose talking about Woo Pig Suey and her crazy damn song from a few years ago with it taped up. Give me the Hogs. Woo Pig.
Oh, that's impressive.
I love them. I'm taking them on the money line.
Oh, that's impressive.
They're going to go to College Station and they're going to win this football game. That's how little I believe in A&M right now. Don't care that they're number 8 in the country.
Fayetteville might explode if they win over a top 10 team.
I'm telling you.
Think about that.
They should be 3-1.
They should be.
They should be 3-1 with their only loss to Georgia.
Felipe Franks should be 3-1.
And Felipe Franks is arguably the better quarterback in this game.
Oh, I think on the whole, throughout his career, absolutely, no doubt. No, that's a great call.
All right, final game of the week that we will do our pick'ems against. It is Ohio State at Penn State. It's the big game this week. It's where game day is going to be.
And
Ohio State's
you get to listen to Kurt do an Ohio State game.
Ohio State's a 12-point favorite. Penn State desperate for a win after losing at Indiana last week.
They're going to continue to be desperate. That 12 points ain't enough. They're going to be desperate like you are at 2:30 at last call at a bar. No, it's going to get real desperate in Happy Valley. No, 12 points ain't enough. Mm-mm.
Okay. I'm taking the home team. I don't think they win. I think Ohio State. I don't think Ohio State covers. Ohio State looked bad for a half last week.
Yeah.
So
did Penn State.
Again, yeah, but Penn State picked it up in the second half, played better.
Sure. Absolutely.
And I think they lost, but realistically, if they take a knee, they win that football game on the road against a better Indiana team that most people want to understand that football team is. Go back to last year. They were 1 win away from 9 victories last year.
No, they should have won the Gator Bowl.
They should have won the Gator Bowl and been a 9-win football team last year. I'm not giving up 12.5 at home with Penn State. The back's against the wall. I like them in that game.
Take them points.
All right, that'll wrap up the preview for the week. Like we said, folks, not a ton of fantastic games out there this week, but we hope you enjoy your Halloween. We hope you enjoy the trick-or-treat and come by. Obviously, be safe with the pandemic out there. Be smart about everything, but hopefully you get a chance to also watch some football. Maybe lay a few bucks down. There's some interesting games out there as far as betting goes this week. We said that again last week, too. There are a lot of opportunities out there. If you pick the right ones, the opportunities came through. We gave you Wake Forest. We gave you Cincinnati. Also gave you Florida State, which didn't come through. So, you win some, you lose some.
You lose some.
But if you bet them all, if you took 4 of our picks and they went 2-2, but they were all on the money line and they were all underdogs, then you came out ahead. Hey. So that's the way that works.
Yep.
But the real good stuff starts next week.
Next week, we promise.
Yeah, you're going to have some hell of.
Auburn's
you got great
not
matchups.
playing. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome.
There's amazing matchups starting in November.
You're going to say, oh, no, stop with all the great football games. Stop it. We don't need all these great football games. You're going to be saying that. That's what you're going to be saying to us.
Any final thoughts from you, friend?
The only thing that I've got is, I don't know if you've heard, but please go out and vote. Make your voice heard.
Good call.
If you have not already, I know I have. My whole household has. I know that you have, Brad.
Yep.
Myself
and my wife went out and made a lunch date out of it.
Fantastic. Well done. So go out, make sure your voice is heard. It's the one thing that's free. It only takes a little bit of your time, and it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, if you got early voting wherever you are, go take advantage of that. That way, you're not waiting in long lines on election day. Get it out of the way, knock it out. Sit back and reward yourself with a cold beer. But it is your chance to get your voice out there. It's important. I don't care who you vote for. That's not my job to sit here and campaign for you. I just want you to get out there and make your voice heard because a lot of people fought for these rights over the course of centuries. And there are still millions and millions of people in this world who don't have that opportunity.
Yep.
And it's something we take for granted, and it's not something that you should ever just let go by.
Absolutely.
Folks, don't forget you can always follow us once again on Twitter at FOT Podcast. Same for Instagram at FOT Podcast. You can make sure to find us on YouTube at Friends of the Program and also via Spotify or iTunes at Friends of the Program by searching those words. Make sure you follow us on Twitter as well because always on Saturdays we're tweeting out stuff that we can find. Probably a little lax on it this past Saturday. Unfortunately, I had a family emergency came up. I know Drew put a few things out there, but it wasn't as active as we usually are. But I had some stuff unfortunately come up that took away from that. But, that's life. It happens. On the bright side, I didn't have to watch Auburn play bad football. So Hey!
So I got it.
I kind of won.
You lost.
All right. For Drew, I'm Brad. We appreciate it, everybody. We'll talk to you again next week. Be safe out there. Make your voice heard. Go vote. Talk to you then.